We're here with Kimberley Doerksen, who just won the Vancouver Marathon in a time of 2:36:59. A huge, I guess, competitive debut for you. Um, Kim, tell us a little bit about what it's like to win such a historic race, your hometown race. You kind of came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
The win was, it was a surprise. It was something that my coach John Hill and I had talked about, just in kind of a perfect world. The time was more, we were trying to hope for a sub 240, and so by running a 237 or 236:59, I guess, by chip time, was really, really exciting. Um, the win was kind of, if the competition was there, or if it wasn't there, I suppose, that would be something to focus on, but by no means was I wanting to go out off of the start line saying that that was what I was going to do, is take the lead right away. It so happened that today that I did, and I managed to hold on, but by no means was it the kind of goal of the race today. But by doing it in hometown and having my teammates on the course and my parents on the course and everything associated with Vancouver, and I've run on this course so many times in long runs and tempo runs, it was really cool to be able to hammer it out and get the win today. So it did mean a lot, especially with the historic kind of aspect to the Vancouver Marathon. So it was a very, very cool thing, especially with John having won it as well. Being a part of that legacy is really cool.
John Hill, your coach.
John
Yeah.
Hill, my coach,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, were you leading it from pretty much the entire, from the gun? From the
Yeah.
start?
I took off with a group of guys. Brian Andrews, who I trained with, was a rock in terms of pacing and held us through for basically the entire race. And so I just went out with them hoping that I'd be able to hold on to them, and it just happened that I went out ahead of them, and Ellie and the other girls stayed behind us, and I wasn't going out trying to lead. It just was how everything panned out.
Now, you crossed the finish line, kind of a great moment. You're really, really excited, and then you got really emotional, obviously,
Yeah.
and then you looked like you were going to collapse.
Like I was gonna die.
Yeah. So, like, what happened at the finish line there for you? Like,
I think it was just overwhelming. The last 2 kilometers, I'm sure anybody can relate to in a marathon, is you feel like you're crawling, and I certainly did. And by crossing that finish line and breaking a tape, I haven't had the breaking of a tape experience many times. I've had it once before in the Kelowna half last year, and that was like I was on top of the world. But after a marathon, like, you're already depleted and tired, and everything is already emotionally kind of accentuated. And so to be able to finish that, like, you have this feeling of just euphoria. Um, and then you cross the finish line, and all of a sudden the race is over, and you don't have to push as hard, and like everything just kind of shut down. And then I saw a really close friend that was at the finish line, and he came over and gave me a huge hug, and I saw my parents, and I just burst into tears, like, because everything that had just happened, like the win and the PB and everything involved with it, just kind of actually sunk in. No, it hasn't really sunk in yet, but regardless, it was all very exciting, and so I just kind of like, that whole emotional and physical breakdown just happened like as soon as I crossed the finish line.
and you told me before that you went and you sought out your parents immediately after you crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I crossed the finish line and like got helped because I was gonna collapse, and then I saw my parents. They were kind of on the before you finish side of the finish line, and so I waved to them, and they were all beaming and waving and everything, and then my escort, if you will, the lady that was helping me survive after the marathon, kind of led me to them, and I got to see them. And at that point, it was just like a bucket full of tears from everybody around, which was really exciting. But,
So you've got your parents are runners as well. You and your dad share a pretty close, like, kind of tight bond because of
Yeah.
running. Tell us a little bit about that.
we both started running at the same time after getting knee surgery.
So you both have had knee surgery.
Yeah, we both got our ACLs reconstructed. He came off his crutches, and I went onto mine. And so that we were both soccer players prior to it, and we did our rehab together and started to run together just because there was no lateral movement, so it was safer than playing soccer. and started to have a good competition between us. But then he held the 10K and the 5K and the 8K records for a long period of time.
It's like the family
It
records.
was like Family Feud, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started to take them, and he didn't really like that so much. But he still runs and still is wicked fast and does really well for himself. And my mom just runs more recreationally. But it's a good kind of relationship to have with my dad, especially because when I go home, like I can long run with him, and everybody kind of understands that whole running side of things, as opposed to being a completely foreign or alien part of my life, which is nice.
So now that you've stepped into elite company, you're an elite now. Tell us a little bit about what your plans are now that you're this 237 marathoner. You're one of the 5 or 6 best female runners in Canada now, and you've got all these opportunities ahead of you. And you're only 23.
23.
You're 23 years
Yeah.
old. What are your plans?
I don't really know. I plan on talking to John, my coach, within the next week and figure out what the fall is going to bring. I don't know if we're going to focus on the marathon or not, just because of being so young. Don't know if I'm just going to focus on trying to get faster in the shorter distances. Obviously, every athlete's goal and dream in life is to go to the Olympics, and regardless of that happening, if it happens, that's unreal. But it's kind of focusing on getting those times down and putting the work in and getting the miles in and just doing as much as I can to get to that level. And if it happens, that would be amazing. But if it doesn't, I'll put my best foot forward and then see where it goes. So.
Thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem. Thank you.